In this video, we'll discuss Microsoft Azure Service Bus. By the end of the video, you should understand what Service Bus is, what it does, and how you might use it. Azure Service Bus is an example of a message broker. If you're not sure what a message broker is, then I've got a short introductory video which will be linked to in the comments below. Service Bus is fully managed, which means that Microsoft are responsible for setting up the Service Bus instance for you and for ensuring that it runs on the hardware that they provide. In fact, they're responsible for absolutely everything, except actually using the software. There are different price models which I won't cover in detail because they'll quickly be out of date, but broadly you can either pay a monthly fee or pay for what you use. In many low-use scenarios, the pay-as-you-go plan will be much lower cost. In fact, in some cases it's even free. The basic foundation of most message brokers are queues and topics. We'll see both at work here. Let's start with queues. As each message is received, it joins the back of the queue. The queue is durable, and so the messages will remain in the queue until they are either consumed or they time out. The messages are then consumed in the order in which they were added to the queue. So we're going to see here how we can create a queue in Azure Service Bus. This is the landing page of the Azure portal. As you can see, Service Bus is here on the most recent used. If it's not, you can click on More Services and then just search for Service Bus. Once you get to the Service Bus blade, if you've got any existing Service Buses, they'll appear here. Otherwise, just create a Service Bus namespace. Here you'll be asked to enter your subscription and then a resource group. If you've already got a resource group, you can pick that. Otherwise, you can create a new one. You'll need to name the namespace. As you can see, there's an issue here because I've put in Service Bus Demo. The namespace has to be unique across all of Azure. So it's quite common to use a prefix if you're creating this for a company. Use a company name, or in my case, I'll just put my initials. Pick the location that you want. I'm in the UK, so I'm going to pick UK South. And the pricing tier, I won't go too much into pricing, but I'm just going to use basic for this demo. Once that's complete, you can go to your Service Bus namespace. And in this demo, we're going to create a new queue. As you can see, we haven't got any queues at the minute, so I'm going to create one. There's various different settings here, how big the queue can get, how many times a message can be retried before it's dead lettered, and the time to live in the message. Click create and that should create the queue for you. Once you've got the queue, you can go into the queue, and using the Service Bus Explorer you can see the messages inside the queue. We can test sending a new message to the queue using this. And then if you click peek from start, that should view the messages in the queue. That's the message that we've just sent. And we can then receive that message. To receive the message, just change the peek mode to be receive mode. Receive the messages. And that will allow you to receive and delete the message, all inside the portal. Just to prove that, if you receive it again, the message isn't there anymore. Queues offer many benefits, but some of the more notable ones are here. Service Bus provides a first in, first out model for queues. That is, the oldest message in the queue is picked up first. There are exceptions for this, for example when there are multiple consumers. Queues allow for temporal decoupling. That's a mechanism where you're not dependent on the order or time in which a task is completed. For example, if you wanted to send an email, adding that email to a queue would mean that it can be sent at some point in the future. It doesn't have to be at that exact time. Finally, by using a queue, you can prevent the situation where a huge amount of traffic overwhelms your system. Topics in Azure Service Bus work by each person or entity that's interested in the information on that topic, setting up a subscription to that topic. For the purpose of illustration, these are our subscriptions. When a message is broadcast on a topic, it's sent to all subscriptions for that topic. Each subscription is then treated as a local queue for its subscribers. One interesting consequence of this is that if you have no subscribers, then the published message will simply be lost. So we're back in our Service Bus namespace, and we're going to have a look at topics this time. If I scroll down, we can see queues there, but we can't see topics anywhere. And the reason for that is that when I set this up, I set it on a pricing tier of Basic. What we're going to do, because Basic doesn't support topics, is we're going to switch that, and we're going to switch it over to Standard, which does support topics, as you can see. Now that's upgraded, we should be able to refresh it, and we should be able to see that topics have appeared. Pricing tier is now Standard, and we can now see topics. What we're going to do is we're going to create a brand new topic, just like we did with the queues. I'm going to call this, we're going to accept the default maximum topic size. We're going to accept the default time, message time to live. All of these are the same options that you had on the queue. I'm not really going to cover any of these other options, enable auto delete and duplicate detection and partition, because this is a basic video. We'll create that topic. Now we have a brand new topic. So the big difference between a topic and a queue is that a topic in and of itself doesn't receive a message. So a queue can live and have 5, 10, 15 messages in it, or no messages in it. A topic can't have any messages in it per se. Only a subscription can have a message. So what we'll need to do in order to actually receive a message into the subscription is create one. And we can do that by just creating a brand new subscription. We can call that something generic. Maximum delivery count is exactly the same property that you had on the queue, but it's per subscription. And again, we won't really cover the advanced options here, but we may come back to that in a future video. Click create, and that will create our subscription. We can now see the subscriptions that we've got created against that topic. As you can see, there's the one that we've just created there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to send a message to that topic. And what we'll do is we'll just send a test message to the topic. And then what we can then look at the messages that have been received on any given subscription. So at the minute we've only got one subscription, so we'll select that subscription. And if we do peek from start, just like we did with messages, we should be able to see our message. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add another subscription, just to illustrate a point. And we'll set the same default properties. Doesn't really matter for this illustration what they are. Now we've got two subscriptions, and I'll call your attention to the message count on these subscriptions. So sub 1 has got 1 message, and sub 2 has got 0 messages. The reason for that is that we broadcast the message when sub 1 existed, and therefore it received the message. but sub2 was only created after we'd broadcast that message, so it never received that message because it didn't exist at the time when we sent it. Subscriptions work in a similar fashion to a queue. You get a broadly first in, first out system. As with a queue, multiple consumers can read the same subscription. Topics are often used for inter-system communication. They work especially well with architectures such as microservices and distributed systems in general, because they allow for logical decoupling. In this video, we've spoken about Azure Service Bus. We've discussed how it's a message broker and explored some of the very basic functionality that it offers. We've talked about queues and topics, we've described what they are, and seen how subscriptions are similar to queues. We've also seen some code examples for both queues and topics.